Hello there, welcome back to my Talk to Jo page, and you'll see that I've changed the name slightly to reflect the fact that I do counselling in Southend. So today what I thought I'd talk about is carrying on from last week, all about luck and our positive mindsets. And it's been something that's been coming up for me a lot in the last week or so, because not only did I go to the wonderful talk by Richard Wiseman, but also a friend was talking to me about how she thinks that life is hard. And she decided that rather than thinking about how hard things is, she'd actually start to think about how easy things are. And it's amazing what a difference that makes. And I've been trying myself this week to see if it works. And it really does make a difference when you start noticing, rather than all the things that are troublesome and difficult, if you start noticing what's actually easy. And do feel free to comment if you'd like. And something else that came up for me is all about assumptions and how we can make assumptions about things and how that can make us really unhappy. And I've got one of these inspirational calendars, and that's what made me think about it. So this says, they say that assumptions, and hold it up and I'm looking at the camera, are premeditated resentments. And I thought that was just such an interesting thought. It's so easy to make assumptions about the way we expect other people to be towards us. And when they fail to be those things that we want them to be or need them to be, that leads to us resenting them. And that just really struck me as very true of myself, in that I can often have expectations of people and get quite cross and feel hard done by when they don't live up to my expectations. And really what that's doing is making myself into a bit of a victim and thinking about, oh, they should be doing this for me and this is what I need, rather than thinking, I should be meeting my own needs and what can I do to help myself in these circumstances, and how am I going to focus. And so everything I've been learning in the last week is all about focus. Where are we going to put our attention? And if we start focusing on the things that we already do have in our lives, it's amazing what a difference that can make for us. We start noticing all the good things as opposed to a lot of the bad things if we're actually looking for them. Whereas if we think to ourselves, oh, life's hard, life's difficult, what we do is we look for all the evidence that supports that particular theory. And it is possible for us to focus on different things, and a little exercise that can help with this is if you just, while you're sort of sitting and watching here, just take a moment and think about your toes and wiggle your toes. And you can probably, as you're doing it, feel some feelings in your toes. And now I've got my hands sort of crossed at the moment. I've got my fingers crossed, and I can feel the fingers of my other hand, and I can actually run my thumbs across my fingers, and I can feel that feeling. And as I'm doing that, I've sort of forgotten about my toes. So I did have my focus on my toes, and now I've got my focus on my thumbs and my fingers. So it really is possible for us to focus in different directions. And where we put our focus is what we notice. And that's a really small little example of how, where we focus, we're going to get what we're looking for. If we concentrate on our fingers, we feel the sensations in our fingers. If we concentrate on our toes, we feel the sensations in our toes. And this is true of our mindset. Where are we going to be looking? And this is what I help clients with, is thinking about, where's your focus? And sometimes people can feel really anxious. And when we feel really anxious, we tend to have we're very aware of threat in our lives. We're very aware of all the things that might be difficult for us, or possibilities of things that might go wrong, and that becomes our focus. And that's a very natural thing to do, because first and foremost we're built to survive. We've got to survive. There's no point, we can't enjoy life if we're being eaten by a tiger. So obviously our focus has to be safety first and foremost. But it's about recognising that sometimes we can get so focused on threat, we forget to notice the good things in life. And in actual fact, most of us aren't about to be eaten by a tiger. I was reading a statistic the other day, and it was saying that something like we worry so much, and only 10% of what we worry about actually comes to pass, and the rest of it is just thought activity. Wouldn't it be great if we could appreciate the 80 or 90% of what isn't going wrong, rather than the 10% of perhaps what does go wrong? And then even if something does go wrong, to change our focus again and to think, well, what is it about this, that makes me feel bad about it? How can I use that to learn and to see that the mistakes or the things that go wrong might actually be something quite positive? We can make it out to be something quite positive. So I was thinking about luck, and we had some friends over at the weekend, and I was washing up all the glasses at the end of the party, and we've got a metal drainer, and as I washed up this really lovely jug that I've got, a glass jug, I put it down next to the glass and I tipped the glass over and it broke straight away. And I was really, oh God, I've broken my glass. And, it was a set and now it's not a set. So I said to my husband afterwards, who is a very positive thinker, oh, how can I say that was lucky? And he said straight away, isn't it lucky you didn't break the vase? Because you really love that vase, and you probably love that vase more than the glass. And the glass is easy to replace, but the vase, the jug, perhaps not. And that's the way we can reframe things. And it's a really helpful way, because it helps us feel so much more positive and cheerful. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, and thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And do keep an eye out for my blog at thegoodenoughmum.com/blog. And if you've got anything to say about what I've been talking about, please do feel free to add a comment at the bottom. And thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.